going, everybody? So if you haven't looked at the title, we're back again with another ranking video today. This time around, we're ranking the shockingly successful shared universe of The Conjuring, which, it really doesn't get as much credit as it does, as it should, because, in this world we have now so many different shared universes, or people trying to do shared universes. This is probably at least number 2, because of course the MCU is going to be the most successful regardless, but when you think of like films trying to do shared universes, DC's done like an okay job with their shared universe. It's been up and down. And then the Dark Universe died immediately, twice, if you count Dracula Untold. And this one just keeps on kicking. But with The Nun coming out, that makes for 5 films in this shared universe, so let's rank them. Also, let me know in the comment section down below how you'd rank them, even if you hadn't seen The Nun yet. But if you've seen The Nun, definitely let me know in your ranking where you'd put it. But let's move right on to number 5. Coming in at my number 5, I have Annabelle. This no doubt in my mind is the worst in the franchise so far. For the most part, this really is just a generic stock, horrible horror film. It's such a huge downgrade from all the other people we've had in this franchise. Obviously, we had the masterful James Wan for the first 2 films, Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2. And even David F. Sandberg has done very successful horror films in the past before with Lights Out. Now he's doing Shazam, doing superhero stuff now. But this guy that directed this film has done stuff such as Mortal Kombat Annihilation, one of the worst video game films in general. And he also did Wish Upon that came out last year, which was also another very horrible, generic horror film. I really feel like without the tie-in to The Conjuring, this film would have been completely overlooked entirely. And the scares and the just overall plot in this film is just definitely the weakest in the whole franchise. It's very uninteresting. Like I said, it's a very generic stock horror film. Not scary whatsoever. The doll doesn't do anything. I think we realize that by now. It just sits there and looks scary. That's kind of like the whole appeal to Annabelle, which I never really understood. But lo and behold, we got a film and we got a sequel. Coming in at number 4, I have The Nun, the most recent entry in the franchise. I'm not going to go full in-depth on this. If you want my full thoughts, check out my review. I literally just posted it last night. So if you want my full thoughts, check that out. But yeah, I didn't really expect too much from this to begin with, because I didn't really expect them to do too much with this character. I felt this was the very unnecessary prequel in the franchise. The character, Valak is scary to look at, but there's not much substance behind it, and they don't really go too much into the backstory in this film anyways. It just felt like they went for the cheap cash grab jump scares that you see in a lot of horror films, unfortunately, in this day and age. Taissa Farmiga does a really great job as Sister Irene in this, and there's a couple nice shots of creepy atmosphere. That's pretty much the most positive thing I can say, is that it has really great atmosphere. It doesn't build on its full potential, but it has some really good atmosphere. Maybe 1 or 2 good scares, but overall, not the greatest film in the franchise, but definitely not the worst. Coming in at my number 3, I have The Conjuring 2. Of course, with sequels, you gotta get bigger and better, which in some aspects it is bigger and better, but in some aspects that's not a good thing. Let's get this right off the bat. This film is way too long. It's over 2 hours long. It's 2 hours, 15 minutes long. And it really felt like they just jam-packed as much as they could into this film, with so many different subplots, going on with the main plot. Like I said, with the nun and the crooked man, and just so much going on in this film that didn't need to be there. It just felt overly stuffed. Still a great film. James Wan did a great job with the sequel. There's some good scares, a really interesting story once again. It does have some really good genuine scares throughout, and also it's really nice to see Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga's characters develop in this film, because they obviously get a little bit more growth in this because of how long the film is, and you get to see more of their backstory and all stuff like that, which is good. It's just, they just didn't need to pack so much in this film. Horror films, most horror films I feel like don't need to be 2 hours long or more. I think you're just pushing it at that point. Coming in at number 2, I have Annabelle Creation, which was such a huge shock to me when I saw this, because I was really expecting this to be bad, just because of how bad the first Annabelle was. I did have a little glimmer of hope, just because David F. Sandberg was directing it, and I've really liked him as a director, because I really enjoyed Lights Out, and then now he's going on to bigger and better things because of this, and now he's doing Shazam. But yeah, this film overall just is so much vastly superior than the first Annabelle that it just shoots right up the list as far as prequels go. And I don't even really like prequels. Everything from the scares, the acting, the sets itself. We're on an isolated farm. It really builds the tension throughout this film. It's not jump scare after jump scare. Of course there are jump scares because it's a modern horror film, but it really builds on the tension with this doll, which is kind of weird to say, because the doll doesn't really do that much, but it actually does some things in this film, which is also really weird to say. And even though I really don't like the first Annabelle, it was nice that this film kind of threw in a little bit of ties to the original Annabelle to just keep it in a shared universe, since it is supposed to be a shared universe, which is okay. I just feel like this film is just so much vastly superior than the first Annabelle, and I like it just a little bit more than Conjuring 2. That's why I have it at my number 2. And coming in at number 1, of course, is the original The Conjuring. I mean, this was just such a breath of fresh air with how many shitty horror films we get, so many years after years. And James Wan, and Leigh Whannell as well, even though he has absolutely nothing to do with the Conjuring franchise, they've pretty much kind of rejuvenated the horror franchises as it is, between the Saw franchise, the Insidious, all them. But I feel like this is their crowning achievement. Like, this is their grade A horror that's not like torture porn and all that. Like, this is like the best horror I think that has come out of James Wan. Plus, it was just perfect casting having Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as the Warrens in this franchise, because they just seem like regular old people. I mean, they're not A-list celebrities. I mean, they're both great actors, but they slip right into this role, have great chemistry. I mean, they play it straight. They're not like super crazy over the top. They just seem like normal people that I could just have a chat with, and they tell me about creepy, spooky stuff and go on with their day. Even when you look at it as just a horror film, I mean, it's just like a standard haunted house plot, but James Wan does it in such a way to make it new and fresh in his own style, and that's what I really like about James Wan's directing, especially in horror, because I think horror is his best genre, but I am liking that he's branching out. But this is like grade A, perfect James Wan style to its fullest. The Saw films are pretty great. The Insidious films he's done are also pretty good, but I feel like this is his crowning achievement as far as horror films go. I mean, this film on its own is just really great, but I mean, it's so good it started a whole expanded universe. I mean, I don't think that was the intention, but since it did so well, here we've got all these other films in development, so that just shows you how good this film really is. But yeah, that was my quick little ranking on the Conjuring universe, all 5 films, including the nun that just came out. Like I said earlier, let me know in the comment section down below how you'd rank these films, if you've seen them all, or just the ones you've seen, how would you rank them if you've missed one or two. But yeah, let me know. Also, thank you for checking out this video. Feel free to leave a like, hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all my movie reviews, trailer reactions, rankings, unboxings, and more. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.